Chapter 2. Emerie cursed under her breath as the hot sun continued to beat down on her in the open fields of Acanthus. Her deep red hair tucked beneath the dark hood of the cloak that flowed gently behind her. She had been walking for nearly a week now. A horse would have been nice, but Eric had decided that it would be too much trouble for her to find a stable for one during the brief amount of time she was to be deployed, and that she would be more inconspicuous without one anyway. She was coming from the center of the continent, the capital city of Ephesus, to a small farm town at the northeasternmost point of the region known as Mesa. She had never even met someone from the village. They were self-sufficient and had little interest in the world outside of farming and hunting. Black market and looted goods sales were often protested against in larger cities. A place like this, a tight community with no political turmoil or any form of security, was ideal for the kind of business these auctions attracted. They were lucky, she figured. She had always lived in a city, loud and bustling, the rich taking advantage of the poor and the poor taking advantage of each other. She hated it. She hated even more that she had always had to fight for her own survival, that at every point of her life she owed someone something. But soon she would be free. She would reclaim her life and live how she wanted. Eric had told her before she left, promised her, that if she completed this job, he would release her from their contract.
"This could be your last job," he had said. "Bring me that orb, and I'll consider your debt paid."
She couldn't believe it. After 10 years of servitude to the Crow's Nest, the tavern that served as a front for the kingpin of the North, Eric Greyflower, she would finally be free. This job, that she would normally consider below her pay grade, was now the most important job of her life. By the time Emerie arrived in Mesa, the sun was setting. She noted that there was only one entrance to the town with just a single guard posted in front of it. She watched how freely he allowed people into the settlement, including a rather intimidating-looking dragonkin, and followed behind after a bit. She lowered her hood as the guard greeted her, and she gave a quick nod to appear respectful. Upon entry, she swiftly surveyed the tiny village, but her eyes instantly set upon the giant purple tent posted in the center of town. The intel Eric had gathered suggested that a missing party of the guild's scavengers had allegedly obtained a magical stone in their travels. A source close to the traveling auctioneers reported that they had discovered the remains of the ill-fated relic hunters and collected their belongings, presumably to sell to any other would-be adventurers. Magic had become a rarity in Antistraphus. Nobody that she knew of could cast spells or perform rituals. She'd only ever heard rumors of ancient artifacts that still held power beyond imagine, and had met a few special individuals with a limited form of healing magic throughout her many encounters. But of course, Eric wasn't sending Emerie to retrieve this stone for any heroic or morally good purposes. No, he wanted the orb's power for himself. Word getting around that Eric Greyflower was in possession of a powerful cursed object would strike fear into his political enemies and shake the nerves of any would-be assassins. He would become as powerful as most of the world already feared he was. Emerie walked briskly up to the tent, searching again for another entrance, but once more had no such luck. The tent had large flaps pulled aside and pinned to the ground to reveal an entrance to the seating area gathered in a half circle for viewing down to the center stage. She walked inside and continued to observe her surroundings. Piles and piles of boxes lined the loose hanging walls, probably full of supplies such as rope and travel wear. But perhaps her target, the stone, could be stored within one of those crates. She approached the boxes, walking casually as if she were just finding a good seat when suddenly a voice stopped her.
"Where are you going?"
An unusual-looking figure asked her. He was a squatty old man with rough, graying skin, dressed in a gaudy purple robe too long for his body that puddled around his feet.
"Hello?"
the man said after she gave him a stare instead of a response. She had been caught all too easily. She didn't think anyone would pay her mind. How could she have been so careless? Yes, sorry," she managed, feigning a flirty laugh under her breath. "I was just looking for a seat and I saw these boxes, and I guess I never realized just how hard you must work to get all of this together." That, of course, was a lie.
"Oh, yes. Many people don't think about how difficult a life of adventure can actually be. They just think we're a bunch of fools playing pretend for money. But let me ask you a question.
The old man leaned in.
Do you still believe in magic?
She didn't know why, but the question nearly surprised her. Was this confirmation of her target that this old man had just foolishly given her? Why would he ask her that now? Did he suspect what she was truly here for? No. She wouldn't let herself worry about that. They probably planned on using petty magic tricks to rile up the crowd and get them to shell out more money for items that definitely weren't worth that much. And when the bidding was over and the salesmen returned to their wagons, she would follow whoever left with the stone, steal it, and get back to Ephesus before anyone even realized it was gone. The old man let out a mischievous giggle and said,
My name is Moxie. I'm the head auctioneer here. Please, take a seat. The show will begin soon.
That was all he said before turning around and walking back down to the stage. So she sat. She would sit and see what the show had in store, and afterwards she would secure her target, as she always had. And once that was over, she would be home and free of Eric, free of her lifetime of servitude, and she would finally live for herself.